Hey everyone, and welcome back to our O-Level Business Studies series. Today we are diving into the one skill that really separates the A grades from the A stars. I'm talking about analysis.
So, let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You've done all the revision, you know your definitions backwards and forwards, but when you get your paper back, those analyze or explain questions just aren't getting the marks you feel you deserve. Well, I'm going to let you in on a secret. That missing piece of the puzzle, it's almost always about analysis. And today, we're going to fix that together.
Okay, so what even is analysis when we're talking about your exam? Put simply, it's all about moving beyond just knowing stuff and into explaining why that stuff actually matters for a business. And this really breaks it down for us. On one side, you've got knowledge, what the examiners call AO1. That's just stating a fact. Easy enough, right? But look at the other side. That's analysis, or AO2. And let me tell you, this is where the big marks are hiding. It's not about what it is, it's about explaining with consequences, what happens next.
So here's the bottom line. Analysis is all about building a chain, a cause and effect chain. It's like connecting the dots for the examiner. You've got to show them step by step how one thing leads to another, and how that second thing ends up having a real measurable impact on the business. Things like profit, costs, or even its ability to survive.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. A cause and effect chain sounds complicated, but trust me, it's really not. We've actually boiled it all down to a super simple four-step method. Seriously, think of this as your secret weapon, your toolkit for crafting a perfect answer every single time.
Okay, here we go. 4 easy steps. Step 1, hunt for those command words. If you see analyze, explain, or discuss, that's your signal. Step 2, figure out what business concept the question is really about. Step 3, and this is the absolute key, build that chain. Cause leads to effect, which then leads to a result. And finally, step 4, sprinkle in some connective phrases to make your logic super obvious to the examiner.
And these little phrases right here, they're going to be your new best friends. I'm talking about words like this leads to, as a result, therefore. They're like bridges that connect your ideas. When an examiner sees these, it's like a big flashing neon sign that says, hey, look over here, I'm doing some amazing analysis.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's get our hands dirty and see this method in action, right? We're going to take a real classic exam question and watch how this toolkit can turn a so-so answer into an absolute grade A-star response. So here's our first example. The question is, analyze one benefit to a business of using performance-related pay to motivate its staff. You've probably seen a question like this a dozen times. Now, a lot of students might write something like this. And look, it's not technically wrong. It's just, well, it's a bit weak. The problem is it stops way too soon. It gives the what, but not the so what. It doesn't tell us the end result for the business. The chain is broken. So let's do this the right way. We'll start with the same basic point, but we're going to build our chain. Performance-related pay is a financial incentive. Fine, but ask yourself, so what? Well, this leads to employees working harder and more efficiently to hit their targets. Boom! Link number 1 is in place. But we're not done yet. What happens when everyone's working more efficiently? We add our next link. As a result, the company's total output goes up. See? Now we're talking about a real, concrete impact on how the business operates. And here it is, the final link that really locks in those top marks. So what's the point of having higher output? Well, therefore, the business can sell more stuff. It can meet more customer orders, which drives up sales revenue. And, you guessed it, leads to more profit. Now that is a complete chain, from the initial idea all the way to the bottom line. That's your AS answer right there. Okay, let's try one more, just to make sure we've got this. This one's about location. Analyze how a business might benefit from relocating its factory to a country with lower rent. And again, here's the kind of weak answer we see all the time. It says costs go down, which is good for the business. But good is just way too vague. It doesn't explain how it's good or why it's good. It's missing all that juicy detail that gets you the marks. All right, let's fix it. We need to be specific. It's not just costs that are lower, it's the fixed costs, like the rent. And so what happens then? Well, this means that the total cost to make each product goes down. See? Way more precise. And now for the really clever part, the bit that shows you're thinking like a business manager. What can the business do now that its costs are lower?
Well, consequently, it has choices. It could slash its prices to become super competitive and grab more customers. Or it could keep its prices exactly the same and just make a bigger profit margin on everything it sells. Explaining those different options, that shows a whole other level of analysis.
Okay, we're almost done. Before we wrap up, I want to give you 3 super quick pro tips to make sure you avoid the most common mistakes people make with analysis. First up, remember the 3-step rule. Always aim for a chain with at least 3 links. Think X leads to Y, which leads to Z. Second, don't just make a list. Quality over quantity, always. It's so much better to explain one point really well than to just list 5 points with no explanation. Depth over breadth. And finally, the biggest mistake of all, whatever you do not just jump straight to the word profit. And this shows exactly what I mean. Just writing relocating leads to more profit is a huge red flag for an examiner. They're just thinking, yeah, but how? You have to show them the steps in between, the proper way. The chain shows how relocating leads to lower costs, which gives you a higher profit margin, and that is what ultimately leads to more profit. You're showing your work, and that's how you get the credit.
All right, let's wrap this all up. If you only remember one thing from today, what should it be?
It's this. Analysis is all about explaining the consequences. That's it. Just get into the habit of asking yourself one simple question after everything you write. So what? Or what happens next? If you can answer that question a couple of times, you're doing it. You're building that A-answer chain of analysis.
Okay, now it's over to you. Don't just watch this, do it. Grab a past paper right now and try out this method. I promise, the more you practice with this little toolkit, the easier it'll get until it's just second nature. Thanks so much for watching and good luck smashing those exams.